My girlfriend said I chose a stranger over her, but the stranger was a man I'd saved from a fire 12 years ago. When she told me I should have let him burn, I finally learned why. When my girlfriend, Lila, screamed, "You don't respect my feelings. You chose a stranger over me." I honestly thought she was joking. Because how else do you respond when your partner is yelling at you for pulling a semi-conscious man out of a burning apartment kitchen? The smoke had barely cleared from my clothes. My hands were still shaking. The paramedics had thanked me. People had clapped. A life was saved. But Lila? She stood on the sidewalk with crossed arms and a trembling jaw, like I had personally betrayed her. "You ran into a fire for him, but you wouldn't even call me back last night," she snapped, pushing past me. "I could have died of stress and you wouldn't notice." I stared at her, stunned. "Lila," I said carefully. "A man was choking on smoke on the floor. I didn't choose him over you. I just reacted." To which she shot back, "Exactly. You react for strangers, not for me." People around us side-eyed her. A firefighter actually raised his eyebrows. I wanted to calm her. I wanted to reason with her. But something in me broke. Maybe it was the adrenaline crash. Maybe it was the embarrassment. Maybe it was the realization that this wasn't the first time she'd made my empathy about herself. Either way, I exhaled, stepped back, and said quietly, "You're right." She blinked. "What?" "You're right," I repeated. "If helping someone in danger makes me the bad guy, then maybe I'm not the man you want." Her face contorted. "Don't do this. Don't twist it. You're making me the villain." "I'm not making you anything," I said. "You're choosing this." She glared, spun around, and stomped down the street, yelling over her shoulder, "Fine. I'm leaving. Maybe someone else will respect my feelings." She disappeared around the corner. I didn't follow her. Not this time. Hours passed. Silence. No texts. No calls. I tried to move on with my evening, but something felt wrong. Then around midnight, I received a call from an unknown number. I almost ignored it until a trembling male voice said, "Are you Lila's boyfriend?" My stomach dropped. "Yes." "What?" The man exhaled shakily. "I was there," he said. "I saw everything tonight. But you need to know something she did. Something the police are going to ask you about." My heart stopped. "What happened?" He hesitated, then said, "Your girlfriend, she didn't go home after she left you. She followed the ambulance. And when she got there, the man on the phone hesitated, like he was choosing every word with surgical precision. "She followed the ambulance," he repeated. "I work at the hospital. I helped wheel the burn victim in. I didn't know who she was at first, but she was acting strange." My mouth went dry. "Strange how?" He exhaled shakily, like he was replaying the scene. "She barged into the emergency bay. Security tried to stop her, but she kept saying she needed to confront the man who ruined her relationship." My blood pressure spiked. "Confront," I whispered. "The guy almost died." "That's the thing," the man said. She wasn't concerned about him. She wasn't crying or scared. She was angry. She kept yelling that he got in the way, that you should have been with her, not dragging some stranger out of a fire. I closed my eyes, feeling something between shame and disbelief. Lila wasn't jealous of a person. She was jealous of a moment where I wasn't focused on her. "What happened next?" I asked. The man paused. "She slipped past us when we were transferring the patient. She went into his room, right when he was half conscious. I only realized when I heard alarms and rushed back." My chest tightened. "What alarms?" He hesitated. "She pulled out one of his 4 lines." I froze. "No," I breathed. "She wouldn't. She's emotional. But she's not violent." "She didn't hurt him severely," he said quickly. "But she yanked in 4 and started shouting at him, telling him that because of him, you were walking away from her." Cold adrenaline ran through my veins. "Jesus," she told him. The man continued, voice lowering, "You should have stayed in the fire. He wouldn't have chosen you over me again." I sat down on the edge of my bed. My hands were shaking. "She was restrained," he said. "Security pulled her off him. The nurses said she wasn't drunk. She wasn't high. She was just full of rage. Pure rage." "And the police?" I asked quietly. "They were called. They'll probably want your statement soon." I rubbed my forehead. Everything was spiraling out of control, so fast it barely felt real. "Is the man okay?" I asked. "Yes," he said. "He's stable. Frightened, but stable." "Good," I whispered. There was a heavy pause before he said, more gently, "She kept saying your name. Over and over." And that's why I called you. Because I don't know what she plans to do next. But she wasn't thinking clearly. I swallowed hard. Thank you. Really. We hung up. And for hours, I sat there in the dark, trying to reconcile the woman I loved with the woman who stormed into a hospital room and ripped out a stranger's for because she felt I didn't respect her feelings. I thought that was the end of it, but I was wrong. The next morning, I woke to 6 missed calls from an unknown number and a voicemail, a shaky female voice whispering, "Please, please answer. They're taking me in for evaluation. They think I'm a danger to myself. I just need you to say something. Anything." Another voicemail, sobbing, "Just tell them I'm not crazy. Please. Tell them I'm not violent. Tell them I'm not what they think." And then one more, calm, terrifyingly calm. "If you don't help me, I'll tell them everything. You're the reason I did it. You made me do it." I replayed that last message 3 times. Then I realized something. This wasn't about jealousy. This wasn't about insecurity. This was something deeper, darker, unstable, and I had no idea how far she would go to twist this. Later that afternoon, my phone buzzed again. A police officer, asking me to come down and give a statement. And while I was driving there, heart pounding, trying to figure out how to navigate all of this, my phone lit up again. A text from an unknown number. A single sentence. "You need to hear what she told them about you." Update. When I arrived at the station, I expected a routine statement. A few questions. Maybe a signature. Then I'd go home and try to piece together whatever life I had left. But the moment I walked in, the officer at the desk gave me a strange look. Pity, maybe, and said, "You're the boyfriend?" "Yeah, the detective needs to see you immediately." My stomach dropped. That wasn't normal. I was led into a small interview room. Gray walls, cold chair, a metal table that felt too big for the space. After a few minutes, a detective walked in holding a thin file and a tablet. He didn't sit right away. He just looked at me for a long moment, studying my face, as if trying to decide how much I already knew. Then he said, "Before you give your statement, you should hear what she told us." My pulse thudded in my ears. He opened the file and slid a paper toward me. A transcript. At the top, interview with Lila M. Voluntary hold, psych eval pending. My chest tightened. Voluntary hold. Voluntary. Nothing about this felt voluntary. The detective sat down across from me. "She's been talking a lot," he said. "Mostly about you." I clenched my jaw. "What did she say?" He didn't answer right away. He tapped the tablet, and from its speakers came her voice, quiet, shaky, but disturbingly rehearsed. "He makes me feel unsafe. He pressures me. He yells. He controls what I do." My eyes widened. "No," I whispered. "That's... None of that is true." The detective raised a hand. "Just listen." Her voice grew more emotional, more fragile, dripping with practiced tremble. "He grabbed my arm last week and told me if I embarrassed him again, he'd make me regret it. He scares me. I ran to the hospital to warn the man he pulled out of the fire that he might be in danger too." I stared at the table, stunned. This wasn't exaggeration. This wasn't twisting the truth. This was fiction. Complete fabrication. A script designed to flip everything upside down. The detective watched my reaction carefully. "Does any of this have a basis in reality?" he asked. "No," I said immediately. "Never. I've never touched her. Never threatened her. I didn't even raise my voice when she left for that so-called date. I just told her things would change." He nodded. "I figured as much." "Then why am I?" "Because that's not the most concerning part." He tapped the tablet again. Another recording started. Her voice, cold, flat, detached. "He's dangerous. If he finds out what I told you, he'll come here. And he'll finish what he started." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was so insane that my body didn't know how else to react. "Detective, come on. You think I'm a threat?" He leaned forward. "No, but she does. And right now, her statements matter. Especially because she also said," he opened the file again, "that the man in the hospital wasn't a stranger to you." I frowned. "What?" "She claimed you knew him, that you have a past, that you blamed her for something involving him." I shook my head so hard my neck hurt. "That's a complete lie. I've never seen him before dragging him out of that burning kitchen." "That's what he said too," the detective replied. "And what 3 witnesses confirmed. And what the footage showed." I froze. "Footage?" He flipped the tablet to show me a blurry video from a street camera. There I was, running into the restaurant. Smoke. Flames. Dragging the limp man out the door. Pure instinct. Nothing else. No connection. No motive. Just human reflex. So, the detective said, her story doesn't hold up. Not even a little. I exhaled in relief. But he didn't stop. However, he added, she also said something else. Something that we do have to take seriously. My relief evaporated. What? He read from his notes. She told us you're the reason she pulled out the 4. That you told her you wished the man hadn't survived. And that she thought you'd be pleased. What? I almost stood up. She said you manipulated her. Coerced her. That she was protecting your secrets. That the only way to keep you from hurting others was to finish the job. I stared at him, horrified. That's completely insane. I agree, the detective said softly. But you need to understand, she's not just lying. She's unraveling. Fast. I ran a hand over my face. So what happens now? He closed the file. She's being transferred to psychiatric care. Minimum 72-hour hold. Possibly more. And me? You're free to go, he said. You're not under investigation. But, I looked up. But what? He slid a sealed envelope across the table. She asked us to give you this. A chill crept up my spine. What is it? We didn't open it, he said. Protocol. But she insisted. I stared at the envelope. My name written in her handwriting. Neat. Curvy letters she used when writing love notes. But this wasn't a love note. It couldn't be. Be careful, the detective said quietly. People in her state, their reality isn't the same as ours. I pocketed the envelope without opening it. As I walked out of the station, the afternoon sun felt wrong. Too bright. Too normal. As if it had no idea what kind of darkness was unraveling behind me. When I got home, I stared at the envelope on my kitchen table for nearly an hour. My hands shook as I finally tore it open. Inside was a single sheet of paper. A message scrawled and hurried. Uneven handwriting. One sentence. You should have let him burn. My breath hitched. And below it, a second line, smaller, almost an afterthought. We both know why. Final update. For 3 days after receiving that letter, I barely slept. It sat on my kitchen table like a piece of radioactive waste. Harmless as paper, deadly as meaning. 12 handwritten words that made no sense then, and make far too much sense now. You should have let him burn. We both know why. I didn't know why. Not then. But on day 3, I learned. And I wish I hadn't. 1. The detective's call. It was 6:17 a.m. I was sitting on the couch in yesterday's clothes, still staring at the letter when my phone buzzed. The same detective. Are you alone right now? He asked without introduction. Yes. Good. We need you to come down to the station. There have been developments. My stomach nodded. Is this about Lila? Silence. Then, it's about the man from the fire. I grabbed my keys and left without brushing my teeth. 2. The hospital footage. They took me straight to an evidence room. Dim, windowless, lit by the glow of a monitor. The detective pulled up a video. This is from 10 minutes before she ripped out his 4, he said. The video flickered to life. A hospital hallway. A nurse's station. A view of room 214, the burn man's room. Then Lila appeared. Hoodie. Face pale. Hair messy like she hadn't slept in days. She stood outside the man's doorway, staring at him through the small window. Not moving. Just watching. For a long time. 3 minutes. Her hands were shaking. The detective paused the footage. Before she went inside, he said, she made a phone call. A short one. A phone call. I repeated, yes, to this number. He slid a paper toward me. My heart stopped. It was my number. But the timestamp. Detective, I said quietly. I didn't get a call from her. He nodded. We checked. Your phone records confirm that. She dialed the number, but the call never connected. She hung up after 2 seconds. I swallowed hard. So why call me at all? He didn't answer. Instead, he pressed play again. 3. The burn man wakes up. On the screen, the man in the bed shifted. His eyelids fluttered. He woke. Lila stepped into the room then, slowly, as if pulled by a force stronger than her own fear or sanity. The man blinked up at her, confused. His lips moved. No audio, but I could read them. Do I know you? Lila froze. The detective paused the footage again. He didn't recognize her, he said. We confirmed that. No connection. No prior relationship. Nothing. Then why? Keep watching. He hit play. 4. One sentence too quiet for the camera to hear. The man tried to sit up, but winced in pain. Lila stepped closer to him. She said something. The camera had no audio. The detective handed me another page, a transcript. The nurses outside the room heard parts of it, he explained. They wrote down what they could. I read the fragments. Why would you do that to him? He never hurt you. You ruined everything. He doesn't even know. My hands shook. She wasn't talking about him. I whispered. The detective nodded. No, she was talking about someone else. About who? He looked me dead in the eye. About you. 5. The part the nurses heard clearly. The transcript ended with one final line, the only sentence spoken loudly enough to be overheard clearly. You should have died, not him. The room seemed to tilt. I sat down hard, grabbing the table to steady myself. What does that mean? I asked, my voice thin. The detective took a deep breath. That's what we were trying to figure out. And we found something. He opened a folder. Inside was a printed record, a police report from 12 years ago. My name on the top. A location. A date I vaguely recognized. Do you remember this incident? He asked gently. I skimmed it. Kitchen grease fire. 1 injured. Hospitalized. Neighbor pulled victim out. A memory clicked. I was 21, living in a bottom-floor apartment. Someone upstairs had a kitchen fire. I ran in, pulled a man out. Yeah, I said slowly. I remember this. I barely thought about it since. The detective turned the page, and my blood froze. On the next page was a photograph. The burned man from last week. But younger. Same man, the detective said. 12 years ago. I stared. The world tunneled. He's the same man I saved twice? The detective nodded. Yes, and someone else witnessed that first rescue too. I looked up. Cold dread crawled up my spine. Who? He slid another page over. A statement. From 12 years ago. A witness. Lila M., age 15. Neighbor. Saw the rescue. I read the words, barely breathing. The detective leaned back. She watched you carry that man out of the fire when she was a teenager. Her mother told us she talked about you for months after, that you were some kind of hero figure to her. A chill ran down my arms. But when she was evaluated this week, the psychiatrist said something else. He opened one last page, and I read the diagnosis. Delusional fixation triggered by traumatic imprint. A fixation. On me. Since before she ever met me. Detective, my voice cracked. Are you saying she? Yes, he said softly. She thought the man in the restaurant fire was a threat to you. Not because he actually was, but because he was the only other person tied to that memory. I couldn't breathe. She believed, he continued, that saving him again meant choosing him over her. That you were meant to save her instead. That you were connected. Destined. That he was in the way. Oh God. Oh God. She didn't hate the man. She didn't hate me. She hated the meaning. That I would save a stranger twice. And never chose her once. The detective looked almost apologetic. She wasn't trying to kill him out of cruelty, he said. She was trying to erase a symbol she couldn't live with. Her reality doesn't match ours. I closed my eyes, trembling. Everything made sense. The resentment. The hysteria. The letter. You should have let him burn. We both know why. She truly believed I knew. That I remembered her from that day 12 years ago. That we were connected by fate. I didn't even know she existed back then. 6. The final blow. As I prepared to leave, the detective stopped me. There's one more thing. He handed me my phone. My actual phone, not a printout. They had cloned its data during the investigation. There was a draft in your girlfriend's notes app, he said. Unsent. Probably written right before she went to the hospital. I opened it. It was short. If he saves him again, it means he never chose me. It means I was never part of his story at all. A second line. I can fix that. My knees nearly gave out. 7. Aftermath. She's still in psychiatric care. Long-term treatment now. Indefinite. Her family reached out, apologizing through tears. They had no idea. None. They thanked me for being patient, for not hating her. But I don't feel patient. I don't feel forgiving. I feel hollow. Like someone carved out a piece of my life and left a question mark behind. 8. What happens now? I'm in therapy. Twice a week. Trying to untangle the fear from the guilt and the grief from the relief. I keep replaying the fires, both of them, wondering if some cosmic joke tied my life to hers in a way neither of us asked for. I keep replaying the moment she said I was choosing a stranger over her. And now I hear the echo of a 15-year-old girl watching from an apartment window. She built a story in her mind where I was the protagonist, the hero, her fate. And when reality disagreed, something inside her broke. The final message she wrote, the one the detective gave me, I folded it and put it away. Not because it means something romantic, not because it's fate, but because it's a reminder. Not every tragedy has a villain. Some have people who break quietly and take others with them when they fall. I didn't save her. I couldn't. But I saved a stranger. Twice. And maybe the only lesson in all of this is the one my therapist keeps repeating. You can't choose who you save. You can only choose who you become after. I'm still figuring that out. One fire at a time.